Battlefield is one of the most popular and influential FPS games of all time. With a history that spans over 2 decades and 12 main entries, the series features a particular focus on large maps, teamwork, and combined arms warfare with a variety of game modes, classes, vehicles, and weapons to choose from. But what are the core features that make Battlefield stand out from other shooters? Let's find out. In my last video, I wanted to ask you all about what makes Battlefield great, and you came up with a lot of great responses. And first of all, let's talk about destruction. Destruction is a big part of what makes Battlefield great, as it allows players to shape the environment and create new tactical opportunities. Whether it's blowing up buildings, bridges, walls, or even skyscrapers, it not only allows you to have a new map to play with, but it also allows you to have different ways of taking out your opponents. And the previous DICE devs ended up moving on to making the finals, and you could see how destruction makes that game so immersive and fun. But now we've seen what destruction could be from one of the trailers that EA released to us, and we thought this would be in 2042. But now the rumors are saying it's going to be in the new Frostbite engine, which leaks have shown, or I guess you could say official statements now have shown, there's a new Frostbite engine that's going to be releasing, and this could have that new, and I'm really hoping it does, that new destruction that we're going to see of levitating skyscrapers in different ways. But this also makes me go back to the comment from TomBull89. where he mentions, I want big, epic moments, things that'll make you go, holy. I remember showing my dad taking down the siege of Shanghai skyscraper, and it blew my mind that stuff like this was possible. And that leads me into sound design. If you notice in Battlefield 1, it's so immersive. I mean, just listen to this gameplay with no HUD and just hearing the sound design that happens. You constantly hear the explosions, the guns, the bullets, everybody screaming. It's just such an immersive experience, so you can actually feel like you're on the battlefield. Sound design is just as important as destruction. It needs to feel like you're on a battlefield. But now let's talk teamwork. There's 4 classes. You have the medic, the support, the engineer, and the scout or sniper. Either way, each one has a specific role on the battlefield. One spots enemies out for you to help people take it out and recon out, whereas one repairs the vehicles, which are so crucial to pushing the front, and another will also resupply the ammunition, while the final will revive down teammates. And all of these work together in such a beautiful synergy, which makes teamwork very, very important. Battlefield is a game about teamwork. At the end of the day, no matter how you try to spin it off, it's not about being a Rambo hero trying to just take out everybody and be the #1 leader on the scoreboard. It's about playing as a team. And in fact, you could have practically no kills and be on the top of the scoreboard in Battlefield if you're a good support or a good medic. It's that simple. Teamwork is one of the core features of Battlefield, and it's needed. And now this leads me into one of the most demanded, and I mean this when I say demanded, features that are needed in Battlefield. And that has to do with the servers. We've seen the servers in Battlefield 1, Battlefield 3, and so on. All right, all the good titles that we know of Battlefield, we've seen a server browser. And this allows you to not only have a specific server you enjoy playing in, but a community. You can build communities off your servers. There were platoons of people that created that were like, this is our server, come join us. Or you could and I know some people say there's badmins, but at the end of the day, the badmins were in effect a good anti-cheat, because the anti-cheat can only go so far, whereas these admins can ban the cheaters right off the rip if there is a cheater in the server. So it was an effective anti-cheat. And now if we want to talk about badmins, the admins that ban good players, well, you can always, my defense in all of this is that good player can always go to another server which caters to their playstyle of being a pro, whereas now this server that has a badman in it that's just banning any good player is now a really good harbor for really bad players that can just go in there and have a good time shooting each other as noobs. It acts as its own skill-based matchmaking, which I'm sure a lot of you already know. Skill-based matchmaking can be very flawed in how they've created it in newer titles. In fact, SBMM is the actual point as to why we don't even have a server browser. Believe it or not, the SBMM is how they are implementing ways of playing Battlefield. That's why we don't see a proper server browser in 2042. You only see it in Portal, where you can create your own communities. But in just regular 2042, if you were to go in and want to play, SBMM would kick in and throw you into a server based on your skill and stats to match with other players, so you're not going to be destroying other players. But this destroys so many core features we talked about, and of course, the cheaters still run rampant. So ultimately, if they bring in the server browsers again like we had in the past, you deal with so many issues. And this is why I agree with David White. Give the power back to the server creators. We need that, and that's the only way Battlefield's going to have a really good, successful future, is having a proper server browser. And now, the map design, as mentioned by Sahel, is one of the most important features we've ever seen. And I think one of the most lackluster things is we've always had these really open, plain maps of just these big open fields and just constantly having that. But one of the most enjoyed maps that people keep playing is Operation Metro. It's been recreated over in Battlefield, from Battlefield 3 to Battlefield 4, and even a version of it in Battlefield 5. So ultimately, people love that close quarter craziness, and in fact, Battlefield 3 was debated as being one of the best, if not the best, Battlefields yet, because of its urban map design. There were so many urban maps in Battlefield 3, and even a close quarters DLC that made Battlefield 3 incredibly enjoyable to play for all styles of play. And when I say all styles of play, I mean this includes vehicle play. Because of the map design, vehicles were able to play that. You had urban environments so that people were able to run around and have a lot of cover and flank routes and maneuverability. It just was the ultimate designs that was needed, and we don't see that anymore. Now, 2042 has hinted at a new map that's going to be coming out, or two new urban maps that are going to be coming out, but how will they cater? We'll have to find out. Afroshrub, I think that's how you say his name, mentioned there's a couple of things, including the only in Battlefield moments that you can only get playing Battlefield, the different game modes that you'll have between Operation Metro, Conquest, or did I say Operation Metro? I meant Operations, Conquest, Rush, War Pigeons, and so many other great modes that you could play. And it was just an all-round experience that came together. But let me know in the comments if I've missed anything and things that you want to see in Battlefield, because I think one of the more important things is we can look at core features from every Battlefield title, like one core feature from every Battlefield title that should be in the future title. So take this for example. In 2142, there were the Titans, and Battlefield 1 said, well, why don't we just do that? And they brought in the Behemoths, these massive behemoths that changed the Battlefield and made it so immersive and continuously made it more fun to play as the round progressed. There were different types. At the end of the day, I think this is one of the core features of Battlefield 1 that stands out the most. 2042 kind of went a different route where they're like tornadoes. The map changes with tornadoes, and that was kind of a big letdown. Now, I want to know what you guys think, so let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, please drop a like down below, because that really helps me out. And I'll catch you beautiful folks in the next episode.